Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you love deep, emotional, and thought-provoking real-life stories, you're in the right place. I'm on a mission to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year, and I can't do it without your help. So if you enjoy this kind of content, please hit that subscribe button, give the video a like, and share your thoughts in the comments section. It truly means the world to me. Alrighty then, let's jump into today's story. I, 27 male, found out my partner of nearly 4 years, 26 female, was having a workplace romance, and it broke me. I don't know where to start. For context, we lived together in a flat situation. We got a kitten together at the start of the year. We've traveled Europe together, and we're even planning on visiting the bank this weekend to see how far away we are from being able to afford a house. I had a couple of hunches about the affair over the past month or so, and then I noticed a notification pop up which I checked, and it was full of saucy messages with a workmate. Detailing what they'd do to each other, she expressed disappointment that she was coming home to me instead of him, and wishing they could just do it instead of talking about it. I only scrolled the phone for 10 to 15 seconds, took a few photos on my phone as proof, and confronted her immediately. She immediately broke down, and was begging me to stay while I was packing my stuff. I didn't really have anywhere to go, and wasn't in a good space to drive, so I just slept on the couch overnight. I battled through a shift at work and came home and confronted her again. I made her call the guy so I could speak to him. He also has a partner, so I told him he has 24 hours to tell her before I do it myself. I told her I want the room and the cat and she can sort herself out. I haven't told too many people at this stage because our lives are so intertwined it would feel like throwing her under the bus. I grilled her on the details, and it had been going on for a little over a month. They've kissed, and I can't say this on YouTube, so let's just say they hugged each other passionately, on multiple occasions both drunk and sober, and I assume Saucy messaged quite a bit. Noting, I only scrolled the phone for 10 to 15 seconds, so I probably didn't even see the worst of it. She is beside herself and saying things like she knows nothing she will say can make it better, how sorry she is that I gave her everything I wanted, but she managed to mess it up. She says she has no excuses, my feelings are valid, that she doesn't deserve it but wants me to stay. She wants to do everything to understand how it ended there and wants to fix things, etc., etc. She says she doesn't know why she did it. This took everyone I've told by surprise. She's always been sweet and loving, and my flatmates and friends can't believe she did it. I feel she's only sorry because she's been caught. Half an hour after I caught her, she was wishing she was elsewhere after all. It's been just over 24 hours, and I feel everything. I felt numb, betrayed, angry, and bitter. I never thought this would happen to us. It's taken me by surprise. I genuinely wish this was all a dream. I wish we could make things work, but I honestly don't see how it could. It's not like it was a one-off thing. I travel for work every so often, so I couldn't imagine going away and feeling secure, and I don't want to be that toxic guy who gets concerned every time they have a new friend or goes through her phone regularly, etc. It feels like I've wasted the past few years and everything we were building is in vain. She's still pretty beside herself and is staying in another room in the same house tonight, but will find somewhere else over the weekend. She seems desperate not to lose me, but I don't know how we would be able to make it back from here. If it was a one-time thing, absolutely I would give it a chance, but it hasn't been that. I'm pretty broken right now. Well, my suggestion? I would say just walk away, not out of bitterness, but for your own healing. It's not your job to fix her mistake or figure out why she did what she did. Focus on yourself now. Surround yourself with people who genuinely care. You're not broken. You were betrayed, and you will come out of this stronger. So we have a couple of updates too, so let's see them together. Update 1. Right when my bed hit the pillow I started weeping because the bed's emptiness felt so strange. That was the first thing I did waking up this morning too. Over the past few hours, I've felt pretty emotionally stable, maybe just numb for now. I saw my sister, who's a counselor, so it was great to talk to her about it. I've dusted off my ukulele for the first time in years for a small jam. I'm starting to journal. I've eaten a couple of slices of pizza in the short window my appetite allowed, so I'm taking the small wins as they come. I've just heard her sobbing down the hallway to stay at a friend's who has a room available for a few weeks. She messaged me this morning wanting to check in and that she's here to talk when I'm ready. She knows I'm hurting, and she doesn't know how to approach this but to let me know when I'm ready to talk, but no pressure. I noticed the guy who she cheated with has taken down all social media. I checked, it wasn't just me blocked, so I'm unsure if it's a sign he's told his partner or not. This gives me a few days to sit on it and think about my next steps. A few comments on either side of the stick or twist spectrum that has stood out for me are the 3 rules of a cheater and learning about trickle truthing. Another comment helped shape my next conversation with her. I will say there are absolutely no guarantees, and the relationship is likely pretty much over, but at the very bare minimum, for even the smallest chance of resolving things, I need these things. 1. To call the cheater's significant other to verify she knows. 2. She needs to find a therapist that specializes in infidelity for weekly sessions. 3. She needs to start applying and to get a new job. 4. She needs to share a complete timeline of the affair, no lies or omissions, every inappropriate joke or at my expense, each time, date and place they went one-on-one, or actions they did. This proves more difficult for her, as she deleted all the messages minutes after I showed them to her. And 5. She needs to read the book How to Help Your Spouse Heal from Your Affair. I won't be waiting around for her to do these things, and will stay separate for the time being. Even after this, I don't think it would be enough, but at the very least it will help me with my own closure, and help her for her future. Update 2. It's Sunday afternoon here, so I decided I was ready to talk, so we could at least have some clarity heading into the week ahead. The talk lasted about an hour and a half, long story short, but it's over, in case the next few paragraphs scare you. On Friday night I had the flat to myself, so I put on the album Go Farther in Lightness by Gang of Youths on. It was cathartic. It is lyrically the best album I've ever heard. There are some depressing songs, but there are some triumphant and beautiful songs on there too. I was weeping, screaming into my pillow, dancing, etc. And the whole time I was imagining, and wishing she was there to grieve with me, the end of something that was pretty special. I told her that I also recalled our third date when she opened up about her demons and struggles, and at the time I knew I wanted to accept her and support her and love her warts and all. I expected it to affect me, but not like this, and she didn't expect it to be like this either. I then mentioned the 3 rules of a cheater, and said that I need to know if I need to get checked for STDs, and I know if they did something they would use protection, but that doesn't completely eliminate the risk. She promised it was just kissing, and I can't say that on a YouTube video, so let's say inappropriate touching. And she did concede that while it's been happening for a month, she probably crossed some invisible boundaries before then. She mentioned he had blocked her on everything. It seems like he's trying to cover it up, unfortunately. I only know his partner's first name, which is a common name, and nothing else about her, and I have no means of contacting her. Part of me wants to do everything I can to find her and tell her. I could lie to you and say because I believe it's the moral thing to do and she deserves to know, but in reality, I think I would be searching out of spite and revenge. She kept apologizing, and I told her that whenever she says sorry, it just sounds like she's only sorry for herself and having to face the consequences of her actions. I have it ingrained in my head that while my kitten and I were excitedly waiting on the stairs by the front door for her to come home, she sent a message saying she was unfortunately not walking through his door. She said she could never forgive herself for what she did to me and us, that it is the biggest mistake of her life, and the worst thing to ever happen to her, and that it's self-inflicted, and I'm telling you, she's had some of the worst things in life happen to her, which is jarring. I went over my 6 non-negotiables I listed in update 1. Also, I added a 6th one, which was she needs to move out. I did frame it as no guarantees, and that she could do all that, and it still might not be enough anyway. She didn't want to look for a new job. It's a job she feels underqualified for as it is, and is a dream job or pay for her, so since she was unwilling to do that, I said that there's no future for us. She understands why it's a non-negotiable for me. I told her she needs to forgive herself because I won't ever forget, but I intend to forgive but not take her back. I told her you can't hate yourself into healing, to not isolate herself from her friends in our same group. They hate what she did, but still love her as a person. She needs to stay alive, heal and grow. She can't change what she's done, so she needs to start fresh. I thanked her for the best time of my life up until Wednesday. She thanked me for helping her grow and always supporting and believing in her. I said, despite it all, I'm still rooting for her. I wish there was a way back from this, but there isn't. She made me promise I'll look after myself and our kitten and to call her if I ever needed anything. A lot of tears were shed together. We talked about logistics around upcoming trips or events we had planned. She has a place to stay for a couple of weeks and will look for somewhere more permanent, and I gave her no rush to get the rest of her stuff out. She will coordinate through our flatmate when she has the means to move her things. She still wants to keep the sentimental gifts I got or made her. I told her she could visit Rocky, our cat, once a week or fortnight and to coordinate with one of the flatmates so I could make alternative plans. The last thing she said was that she was sorry she wasn't strong enough to make things work. We hugged, she said it was hard to leave, and I said the same, and that was that. So now I'm alone in a room that feels too big for me, typing this out to all of you. I find closure is often a myth because you always end up wanting more and more, but this is the closest I can get, so I'm officially single, and I'm not sure when my next update will be. It's going to be a hell of a struggle, but today is the beginning of the rest of my life. Update 3. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. I found his partner. We had two mutual friends, so I asked them to contact her, to accept my message request or follow request. I sent her the screenshots, told her what I knew, and spoke to her on the phone for about 15 minutes. She was super disappointed. They were very close to buying a house together, so it feels like she dodged a bullet. She couldn't really believe it. She called him, and apparently what she said lined up with what he said. She said she didn't want to be with a cheater, so I assume some difficult conversations for those two to face, but it's likely their relationship might also be a victim to the decisions my ex and him made. She's still processing and hasn't made a decision yet, which is completely fair. I was in the same boat. I told her to be happy, to stay in touch if she needs to process anything or need any more details. It felt a bit vindicating that justice could happen, but I do feel bad for being the bearer of bad news. After me and my ex's final talk, where we agreed to end the relationship, we exchanged some messages. It was emotional. I thanked her for visiting, and we both acknowledged how tough it is without each other, but offered support if things became too much. She said she'll always want to talk and be there for me, even just as a quiet friend. She said she'd love to be in my company again one day in any form. We agreed to a bit of space, but agreed I'd message her on Sunday to discuss some more logistics. I might stay at my parents' while they're away, so she can see the flatmates or cat for a couple days. Don't worry, my chat GPT therapist told me off for this conversation, so don't pile on too much. I felt calm after that, and my anger and resentment towards her sort of dissipated. Heck, I was even considering the option of couples therapy. But I got a good reminder. Reconciliation requires sacrifice, not just apologies. There's a pretty clear boundary in place that she's not willing to meet. That's her job. And I guess now is a litmus test for my ex. Will she prioritize trying to grow and heal? Is she truly remorseful? Or will she and her workmate crack on now that there's one less barrier and nothing to lose? So there were some good steps taken, but I feel like that OP is not over his ex and wants to be with her. I don't know, I mean, I understand, you guys were together for 4 years. 4 years is a long time, so yeah, it's understandable, but yeah, I hope he doesn't go back to her. Well, we have another update, and I think it's one last update, so let's hope he doesn't take any stupid steps. Let's check it out. Update, 3 weeks since D-Day, I still want her, even though I shouldn't and can't. Hi all, so in my last update, I mentioned I found my ex's affair partner's partner. They were together for 8 years, and they had an offer on a house together, they since pulled out of. We stayed in touch intermittently, over the past couple of weeks. Turns out the affair partner was still lying to her about going absolutely no contact with my partner. Within 3 days of working together again, he came up to her to check how she was going, and they also had a lunch meeting together with 2 or 3 other colleagues. The affair partner also said that he would talk to his boss or management to distance himself from my partner, which obviously hasn't happened yet. My partner was getting annoyed that I was still in contact with her affair partner's partner because I was fixating on it and not focusing on our relationship. I did tell her it was nice that she's only now keen to focus on our relationship. I'm no longer in contact with her affair partner's partner. It appears she blocked me. She did mention in a previous conversation that she didn't want to keep in touch, which is fair enough. I wasn't blowing up her phone or anything, but I do wonder if my partner and her affair partner talked about it to make it happen to stop the information flow. But it could be just my trust issues, where things stand with my ex-partner. I've been talking to my ex-partner on and off. I was so set on ending things originally. Reading back my old posts, I was pretty certain it was over. But to be honest, I started to crack when she had started successfully looking for another flat. Something about it made everything real. Since then, we've had a few long conversations. Some heated, lots of tears, and we agreed she would come back to the flat to stay in another room, as there'll be a room available for the next few weeks, which buys me a bit more breathing room to sit with my ambivalence. We saw a couples counselor, someone who was experienced in betrayal or infidelity, but it felt like a waste of time. We didn't even touch on the things we needed to. Even getting her to that appointment was difficult. She originally refused because she had an unmissable work meeting. I asked if it could be rescheduled or for her to send someone else. She said no after a heated back and forth. She managed to move the meeting within 10 minutes of trying. The session itself felt like a waste of time. Should have just let her have that meeting. But we may see someone else together next week. How I'm doing, I have barely been able to think about anything else for a minute for 21 days. I'm failing at work. I've noticed I'm isolating myself a lot more, and barely been anywhere outside of my room, my work, and the occasional trip to the gym. My closest friends are all overseas. For the past 2 weeks, my emotions have been mostly stable, just ruminating a lot, but today I feel such a deep sadness. I have had some tough times in my life, but I have never been lower. I saw a therapist by myself who gave me a bit of hope. told me it's okay if my boundaries change over time. I mentioned I don't know what I want yet because I want to make sure my why is right, that my decision to stay or leave will each have multiple whys. He encouraged me to meet her for coffee, and I should have an inkling on what I want. Where's my head at? I realized this week that despite the betrayal and how utterly broken I've felt, for me, it's always been her. And even now, I still want her with everything I have. That's been hard to accept. Most books I've read, most comments on Reddit, most friends I talk to tell me I should get the F out, and they're all probably right. I just really believed in what we were building together, I believe. She's remorseful, and the love doesn't just go away overnight. I even got offered a room in London, on the other side of the world for me, by one of my close mates. I got offered an exciting, potentially career-making project at work, but I feel I don't want either of these things compared to being with my partner. Despite all this, there's one boundary I don't think I can let go of. She needs to go absolutely no contact with her affair partner, and that means finding a new job. They kissed multiple times, messaged for 5 days a week, which would often turn flirty, and admitted to a mutual vibe throughout. Yes, I could monitor phones or location, etc., but I couldn't stop either of them going up to each other and verbally planning a make-out session in the staff car park again. I don't think I can even start healing or thinking about reconciling until they're completely out of contact. My partner said they've now been avoiding each other like a plague, but admits that vibe doesn't just go away overnight. She's paying for all the couples therapy sessions. She's saying all the right things. She seems to be remorseful and says it's the biggest mistake of her life. I know she won't want to leave her job, though. She originally shut that down without even attempting to look. I feel like the hope of reconciling things was keeping me going the past couple of weeks, but I feel like I've lost the last bit of my hope. Is it worth her spending thousands on therapy and beating a dead horse? I've been trying to bend over backwards to find a way to make this work, but it's becoming clear. Unfortunately, there's no way forward. The tough pill to swallow. No matter how much I love or want or try, if she's unwilling to remove the very things that broke us, I'm just wasting my time. I've been trying to bend over backwards to find a magical solution, but it's becoming clearer there's no options apart from radical change and complete separation from her affair partner. I think that loss of that last speckle of hope has just grown my grief. I know I'm probably going to get a lot of angry comments below telling me to pull my head in, but I do appreciate all your comments, and I apologize for coming off as that guy who's not listening to sound advice. I would love to hear from anyone who tried to reconcile while the wayward still worked with the affair partner, and how that went for you. So that's the end of it. We don't have more updates, and I just want to say I really feel for OP, and after reading this, I can tell how much pain he's in and how hard he's trying to make sense of everything. He's clearly someone who loves deeply and doesn't give up easily, and there's so much strength in that, but I'm also scared for him that he'll go back to his cheating ex. The fact that she's still working with her affair partner, still seeing him, even casually, that would eat me alive too. He's not asking for something unreasonable. He's asking for the bare minimum to feel safe, and she's not meeting him there. That alone speaks volumes. I hate the idea that he's pouring everything into trying to heal something when she won't even take the one step that could really help, walking away from the place where this all started. I know how hard it is when your heart still wants someone so badly, even when your gut is telling you it's not right. But please don't lose yourself in trying to keep something alive that's not being nurtured by both people. And that offer you got, the room in London, the career-changing opportunity, I really hope you say yes. That sounds like a fresh start, a chance to breathe again, and maybe even rediscover parts of yourself that have been buried under all this pain. You deserve more than constant anxiety and overthinking. You deserve peace. I'm rooting for you, OP, whatever path you take, but please make sure it's one where you aren't the only one sacrificing. So guys, if anyone else watching this has gone through something similar, feel free to share your story. I'd love to hear how you navigated through it. Also, I cover stories like this on my channel, so if you like this story, please consider checking my channel out and subscribing. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and every bit of support means the world to me. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves out there. Bye.